Good evening, District 82, and welcome to another Pathways training session, the March edition. Another Friday. It's nice to see all of you joined on this Friday evening, the first Friday of March 2021. Where has time gone? So today we have our March edition of the Pathways training, which is an initiative by the Program Quality Team of District 82 for the year 2020-21. And we started these training sessions every first Friday of the month to help our members to get the best out of the Pathways education sessions. And this is because Pathways is new to all of us, and we may be a little confused on what to do or what our projects are, what are we going to get out of our projects. So we thought, let's help our members, our family, to get the best out of this series of projects and levels that we have to complete in our new educational program. Now, just a few supporting material to help everyone out. During registration, we do ask if you have any questions that you would like us to answer. And most questions are about pathways. How do we enroll, or how do we finish a path? So these links to different resources will be posted in the chat as well. So you have all the resources that are available on the Toastmasters International website, as well as all our previous sessions. So how to enroll in Pathways, how to do evaluations in Pathways, responsibilities of the base camp manager, organize your speech, your speaking voice, uncovering the path, the three things you didn't know about a great script. So how do you script your speech, a moment in time, this art of storytelling, working with words, making presentations stick, and active listening. So all these links will also be shared in the chat for you to go and visit. And all these links are from the D82 YouTube page. If you didn't know, subscribe to the D82 YouTube page, because all these sessions are uploaded and a lot more informative videos, tutorials are uploaded to help you get the best of your Pathways journey. So this month in March, we have 2 sessions. By looking at it on the surface, it may not seem much of a Pathways training as such. Well, session 1 is something that we all could gain a lot from, the art of negotiation. And who better to help us learn the art of negotiation than Toastmaster Tissa Disanayake. And session 2, we have another important session, which is something that we tend to forget most often than not. How do we focus on the positive when we are very used to focusing on what can go wrong? Now, this project called Focus on the Positive is actually a Pathways project in your path. It's an elective project, and this session today will help you and give you a few tips and tricks on how to excel in this project as well. We do have a Q&A session at the end, where we will have our Program Quality Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Shriyanti Sagadha, joining us as well. And any questions you have regarding Pathways, regarding anything that you want to ask about Toastmasters, and even any questions that you have to ask from our trainers today, you can do so by sending in your questions in the Q&A option, which is there at the bottom of your screen. So please do send in your questions, and we will address all of them during the Q&A session. Without further ado, let me now introduce to you our first speaker. Toastmaster Tissa Dissanayake is the founder, CEO, and master trainer at Boston Negotiation Group, which is an entity dedicated to improve negotiation, communication, and leadership skills of corporate executive and entrepreneurs. He has successfully secured hundreds of international deals during his negotiation career, expanding over 25 years with hands-on experiences over 30 countries in Europe, Asia Pacific, and Middle East. Tissa sharpened his negotiation skills at the Negotiation and Leadership Program at Harvard Law School, Cambridge, USA. He's a competent leadership coach certified by Master Coach London, United Kingdom. He's a writer, keynote speaker, and a frequent contributor of LinkedIn articles on the subjects of negotiation, of course, communication, and leadership development. He's an advanced communicator and dual member of FTZ Toastmasters and Pinnacle Advanced Toastmasters as well. Toastmaster Tissa, the screen is yours.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Lasni, for that colorful, lovely, lengthy, dynamic introduction. It was 29th of March, 1993. Almost 28 years ago. I was new to my sales career. As a result, I visited this one of the largest tea export companies in Sri Lanka in Colombo 11. Now don't try to figure out what that company is. I entered their office. The distance in the cubicle, I saw a gentleman. The board said, Director Exports. As I enter, I saw this huge figure, over 6 feet tall. I believe it's around 150 kilos. Formidable look, piercing eyes, a strong character, the direct export whom I had to negotiate to get their container businesses. I looked at his eyes and said, Sir, I'm here to discuss about your business of exports of tea to Russia. I want a part of your business. What's your name? Tissa Dissanayake. Which company are you from? I said the name of my company, the #1 shipping and logistic company in the world. #1 in the world. He didn't care. Before we talk, how much of credit days you can give it to us, our company? I said, Sir, we usually give 30 days credit, sir. What? 30 days? Every competitor, every logistic and shipping company in this country gives us 60 days credit. Can you give 60 days credit? I said, Sir, we only give 30. Can you give me 60 days credit? I said, right. Shh. Don't waste my time. If you cannot give 60 days credit, no talk, get out. I said, Sir, Anura, that was the name of his deputy, Anura, show this gentleman the door. Never ever allow him to come inside this place unless he first confirm that this company can give 60 days credit. Send him off. Have you ever felt small in front of someone? Have you ever felt someone had something like this, a sledgehammer? Boom. Oh. It hurts. This is exactly happened that day. Cutting long story short, he became my best friend long time after. We continued to do business. And that company was one of my largest customer in export industry. Now, how could you handle a difficult customer? Because negotiations are inevitable. You got to negotiate with the different type of people. At times we meet these huge figures, the strong negotiators. You can't move away. You are compelled to negotiate from the moment you are born until the moment you are gone from this world. If the negotiations are inevitable, why not learn how to do it better? Because negotiation is a key skill that will be very useful in your personal life and professional life. You might have to negotiate for a simple thing like where to go for your next dinner. Or else you will be negotiating for a high value engineering project with the professional team. Whatever it is, there is an art and science to that. Now, District 82 gave me 30 minutes to help you to understand the negotiation. Negotiation is, the master class is my 3-day project. Advanced class is my 2-day project. The negotiation essentials are 1-day workshops. I do minimum 3 to 6 hours negotiation training. Now, how can a division or area expect me to educate you within 30 minutes? Well, all those essentials of negotiation, I intend to give you 3 important tips, techniques or tools, which is world class, that will help you to become a great negotiator. Do you want to become a great negotiator, Toastmasters? I just wanted to hear it. Do you want to be a great negotiator? Unmute yourself and tell me your intention, because that will help me to help me to help you to become great. Do you want to become a great negotiator? Hingston, what do you say? Hingston, are you there?
Yeah, yeah.
Great. Now, when someone is with this, when you meet someone in your personal negotiation or professional negotiation, not with this like sledgehammer made of iron, a metaphorical sledgehammer. Have you ever met people like that? People who say, look here, you do it my way, either my way or highway. Take it or leave it. You agree to my terms, otherwise there is no deal, no even discussion. Has anyone ever told you like that? Or let me put the other way around. Have you told something like that to the other people? Whatever it is, people like that I call negotiation bullies. The bullies are the people who has a lot of power, resources, money, authority, who is bulldozing the other negotiating partner. How do you handle people like that? Let me give you 2 tips, 2 techniques that you could handle when someone very powerful when you are negotiating with the other one. Tool number 1, the techniques or tip number 1, never react. Don't react. Because negotiation bullies, those powerful people use their power. They want to bulldoze others because they enjoy by looking at others' reaction. You can take the power out if you don't react. Simply don't react. Ayyo. You will say that it's easy to said than done. How do you stay without reacting? Is there any way that I have one suggestion? This was introduced by Professor William Ury, the co-founder of the Harvard Negotiation and Leadership Program. He is my teacher too. He said, when someone is trying to bully you, especially when one-to-one negotiation, please, when someone is pouncing on you, look here, it doesn't matter how big your company is. Every company is giving our company a 60 days credit. You must agree 60 days credit to do business with us. Otherwise, you can go out. And if someone is bouncing on you, don't react. The technique is go to the balcony. Balcony? That's the balcony. Go to the metaphorical balcony. Metaphorical balcony is the thing where you have the emotional calmness, mental calmness, and the balance. When you go to the balcony, you can observe someone is pouncing on you from above. You are away from the bustling and hustling, what is happening below you. Thinks the war front is below you and you are above. Mentally, psychologically, not physically. That means when someone is applying pressure, threatening you, pouncing you, whether it's a personal or professional matter, go to the balcony. That person is scolding this next one on the office matters. It's nothing personal. Why should I get angry? Why should I get upset? Can you go to that balcony? Because it's an emotional metaphor. It's an emotional calmness place. The first thing that you need to do is to understand your position. What I'm doing? Am I a salesperson? Am I representing District 82? Have I made a mistake? Is there a possible logical reason why he's got that such upset? Is it reasonable? What can I do? Do I have to react to that person? How can I stay without reacting? That was the questions that you need to answer within yourself. When you understand your feelings, when you name to tame, when you have bad emotion, when someone blame you, jump at you, bark at you, I mean, how can we stay calm? And it hurts. We are emotionally aroused, emotionally upset. My suggestion is, don't take it in. Go to balcony. Detach yourself from that person, because that is my way, that how I handle was, I was the sales executive representing that company. It was nothing to do with Tissa Dissanayake. The moment you choose not to react, the power of that person is taken away. And go to the balcony and see what you could do. After a while, he will come down. This is what exactly happened. I simply walked away. Following. Now you will wonder how I became a good friend, good customer of that company. Or that company became one of my ardent supporters of export trade. 2 weeks after I came back, then he asked, the man has not changed. He asked, Tissa, can you give me 60 days credit? I said, yes. Your company agreed to give us 60 days credit? Yes. I can give you 60 days credit provided you give me 50% of your business. What? You are asking 50% of my business for 60 days? You wanted 60 days. I gave you 60 days. Now I have another request. Give me 50% of your business. That was the starting point of negotiation. Cutting long story short, he became one of my friends. He was later became one of the chairmen of Sri Lanka's premier bank. Chairman, now he's retired. He was the chairman of premier banks in Sri Lanka, commercial banks in Sri Lanka. This is how you handle. First, be emotionally calm. Don't react when you are negotiating with someone, especially negotiating police. That's the number one techniques that you will need when you are negotiating with someone which is very powerful. Number two, have you ever faced a situation where you will wonder, should I give the price first or should I leave the other person to give the price? Have you ever faced a situation like that? When you are buying a car, when you are buying a land, when you buy something very valuable, which is price is not fixed. Not fixed price, like dal, parippu, salmon, sugar. I'm not referring to fixed. There's nothing to negotiate. And you just have the retail price, maximum retail price, MRP, and you buy it. Something very important, something high value, like a car or land or house or expensive equipment, a jewelry. Have you ever wondered who should give the price first? Is it the buyer or seller? Now, in your chat box, please type those who believe it is the buyer who should give the price first. Just say B. Type B. Those who believe that it is the seller who should give the price first, just say S. B and S. I just wanted to see it. Oh, I'm getting responses. Okay, B, S, B, S, B, S, S. Wow, S, S, B, 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 B. Oh, I'm amazed with the Gayatri to all panelists. Toastmaster Gayatri say B and S. This is nothing to do with the Bharti and Santosh. Buyer and seller, that's the middle of the road, Gayatri. I love that strategy. Brilliant. S, S, B, S. Great. Let me help you to find out that answer. This is what it worked for me, and perhaps what worked for some of the world-class great negotiators. If you have more information, more detail, more in-depth understanding, more deep knowledge about that subject, that item or that service, that product that you are trying to come out with the price, one who has better knowledge, understanding about that should give the price first. Imagine if you are trying to buy a house. If you want to buy a house, if you have in-depth understanding about what's the size of the house, how many square feet, what is the per square feet rate is going on this area, what's the land value of this area, how much is the similar property sold last week, this week, in this area, surrounding area, and what is happening in the market, what is the long-term, medium-term, and the short-term trend in the property industry, and all those information, if you have better understanding, my suggestion is you should go first. Pitch it at that. Because your pitching level, your offer of that price level is based on the highest judgment. If you don't have, if the other person has the better understanding. Now, for instance, like if you go to an employment interview, job interview, probably your employer has a better understanding on what's happening, how much they are paying, and all those information. It is always better, let that person to fix the price. Of course, if you don't agree, you can always count it. If you don't agree, always. Now, this is what you call anchoring. Let me talk about something important, anchoring. This word is very important. Where to pitch? Where do you want to pitch? Do I have to pitch? If I need, assume that there's a car. You want to buy the car for 5 million. Should I, you want to sell the car for 5 million. Should I say 8 million and sell at 5 million? Should I say 7 million and sell at 5 million? Should I say 6 million and sell at 5 million? Should I say 5 million and try to sell at 5 million? Should I say 5.1 million and sell at 5 million? What do you think? Where do you have to pitch? I learned this. This is what you call anchoring. Where to anchor? I learned this anchoring very funny way. In 2008, I changed my job. From logistic into international career, worked as an expatriate manager based in Sri Lanka, managing 40 plus countries. This is how I got opportunity to travel 30 plus countries to do business hands-on with professional buyers. Before the joining, I had the privilege of meeting expatriate manager, the owner of that company. He was based in Sri Lanka because they had a factory in Katunayaka. The young guy, 25 years, the son of the owner. And some or other, cutting it very short, we had the job interview at Hilton lobby. When we were talking, he said, this job was previously done by a Belgium guy. Now he left. I want you to handle. I believe that because of your exposure, international exposure, you have the right experience. Now, we will pay you, how much do you want? He wanted me to give the price. This was 2008 June. I thought, wow, price. Very interesting. Have you ever faced a similar situation in your life? How would you fix? Now, I am asked to give the price. I said, interesting. I will give you the price. Before that, I want to ask a couple of questions. I asked a lot of clarification. He said, we will pay in euros. You are open up RFC account, resident foreign currency account. We will pay in euros. Everything will be paid. Your petrol bill, your car running cost, your telephone bill, your salary, everything will be paid. I said, wait a minute. If you pay in euros, if it is a consultancy agreement, I lose my EPF, ETF. What's that? I said, if salary is paid in Sri Lanka, you are supposed to pay me ETF, EPF. He said, I don't understand. Please help me to understand. Then I said, okay, assume the salary is 1 million. So EPF, as a EPF, you have to pay me 12%. That's 120,000. You also have to pay me 3% of as a ETF, Employees Trust Fund. Another 3%, another 30,000, 120,000 plus 30,000. I lose just because if I agree to get the salary in euros to my foreign currency account. If it is not paid, if the contract is Belgium. That means you are losing 150,000 if you accept in foreign currency. I said yes. Then he asked, if I add 150,000 into that your salary, would you agree for that? I said, yeah, if you can agree EPF and ETF into my salary and pay me directly, I'm okay. Then he got up and said, yeah, we have a deal. I said, what? Deal? What deal? In fact, I didn't tell that. I was surprised. I took that 1 million as an example. I was just about to ask much more lower figure than that. Because imagine 2008, Sri Lankan salary level, and I wanted to ask twice of that, but it was nowhere near that amount. I took it as an example because it's easy for me to do the math. He took it as an anchor. Said yes. I worked for that organization for 10 more years. Have you realized the power of anchoring in negotiation? This is how I learned it, pleasant way. Pleasant way. Very funny way and very beneficial way. So my friends, remember, don't try to pitch it. I was lucky in that case because probably he compared that with the Belgium salary. But you will not be that lucky. You have to be realistic. My suggestion is always try to pitch at least 110 to 130% more. Now, for instance, if you want to make it a 100,000 price, ask for 130, 120. Don't ask for 200,000 and come down to 100,000 at the end because you lose credibility. This guy tried to rip me off. He said 200,000, now he is agreeing for 100,000. Your credibility gone. Remember, in life, we repeatedly do business with, negotiate with the people. It's a repetitive negotiation happening around us. We repeatedly negotiate with our key customers, main customers, with the family members, with office workers, with co-workers, with team members, with district 82 members. So maintaining trust is very important. If you say 200,000 and sell at 100,000, make a rip off. Look at what he trying to do. That was the feeling. So my friends, it is okay to quote high. It is always to quote high and come down, but don't quote that high. Because you need always some sort of a leverage to come down if there is a need. If person agree for 130%, 30% more, that's fine. And if you quote 130,000 instead of 100,000, that is your bottom line, the price that you want. If in the negotiation, if they agree 120,000, you are upon 20,000 more. Remember, the great negotiators always come to an agreement which is at the end, which is good for the other one and great for you. Remember, it's always should be outcome, negotiation outcome should be good for them and great for us. Good for them and great for us. Because there's only one way you could achieve, if you collaborate. Remember, good old days, I was told negotiation is like a fist fight. Do you remember in grade 5, 4, 6, and you had this hand fight where two students, and when you were in school, and hand fighting, and the other two guys are keeping the pencils around. This side one pencil, this side another pencil, because when it hits, you hit the pencil and it's painful. Losing is painful. This is what we were taught as negotiation. It's a test of will. It's those who have the power, those who can bulldoze, those who have authority will win. I thought the same. I was wrong. Because negotiation is, I was told at the initial negotiations like cutting a cake. The bigger part is mine. Don't touch it. Big part is mine because the recipe in mine, I put a lot of effort. I was the person who did this to make a cake. I knew I had the know-how of baking the cake. All those materials I spent, therefore it should be bigger part for me. Small part for you. That was how I initially looked at negotiation many years ago. Do you still see the negotiation as test of will? I was wrong. There's a better way. Cooperate with the other person and try to make the cake bigger. Instead of 1 kilo, make it 50 kilo. Even if you cut it half, you still have 25 kilos each, and not fight to have a bigger part of the 1 kilo cake. Can you expand the cake? In American parlance language, they call it expanding the pie. In Sri Lanka, what pie? We don't have the pies in Sri Lanka, we have the cake in Sri Lanka. Therefore, let's substitute that. Can you expand the cake? How to expand the cake is to collaborate with the other person. So my friends of District 82, I shared with you some of the important 2 techniques that will be used, the world-class techniques that will be used, it will be useful immediately this evening, this night at home, or tomorrow morning at office. These are practical tools. How to handle a bigger partner, stronger partner, formidable partner, powerful partner, we call negotiation bully. It's all about staying calm, going to the metaphor, metaphor of balcony, and not to react. And then you will see how to negotiate as we go on. The second thing is to whom to pitch first, whether you should give the price first or let the other person. Remember, the learning is the one who has the better understanding, knowledge should fix the price, and where to fix the price, we call it anchor. If you use these 2 techniques, which is applicable in day-to-day life, you will be able to manage some of the difficult negotiation situations. Remember, negotiation is an art and the science both. All great negotiators were once beginners, but they took that important first step to improve their negotiation skills by learning it. There are many ways that you could learn. There are a lot of things available in the YouTube and the internet. I request you to start learning art of negotiation, because that is the key trait of a great leader. After all, at District 82 in Toastmaster Fraternity, we are in the making of leaders. So these leaders at District 82, I wish you all the best in your next negotiation. And if you have any challenge or issue in art of negotiation, whether it's a personal or professional negotiation, let me give you one more important help. If you need to get anything, just type Tissa, send me an email, tissa@tissa-disanayaka, Tissa-disanayaka, one word, tissanayaka.com or 077-244-0813. I'm there to help you in any professional negotiation situation. And you could upgrade your knowledge by connecting me with in LinkedIn, because I publish a lot of LinkedIn articles on updating this subject. The great leaders and the great negotiation District 82, I wish you all the best in your journey to become a great negotiator and moving from average to great. Back to you, Lashini.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Tissa. Right, so now it's time for question and answer. Well, not the question and answer session that we promised you at the end of the session, but let's just see how much we actually learned from Toastmaster Tissa. So in the chat, why don't you let me know how many tips did Toastmaster Tissa share with us today to help us become greater negotiators? So Toastmaster Tissa, have they been listening well? They have been listening. Right. Just why don't you let us know in the chat, just tell us what is the most difficult negotiation you have to do? Is it at home or at work? I'm sure we'll have some very interesting answers coming up in the chat.
I like that question, Lasini. I love that question. Great.
Let's see where mainly 2 tips. At home, yes. At home, definitely.
Wish me say at home. Hilini say at home.
What is win-win negotiation? Okay.
We'll answer that.
Yes, let me remind you to use the Q&A feature and post your questions, because we will be there to answer all your questions after the sessions are over. Right. So apparently we need to improve our negotiation skills for home mostly. So I hope we'll all become better negotiators at home. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Tissa, and we will welcome you back during the Q&A. So District 82, that was indeed a very informative session that we had today. Right, so like I said, we have with us our Program Quality Director of District 82, Distinguished Toastmaster Shriyanti Salgado, who will join us for the Q&A session as well. So we'll have with us Toastmaster Tissa, Toastmaster Iromi, and Distinguished Toastmaster Shriyanti. Please do send us any questions that you have. So let me first start with a question that we had during registration, DTM Shriyanti. It was that I think I thought I should ask it out because it's something that everyone might be wondering. The question was, do we really need to upload our evaluation sheet? That was one of the most questions that was asked. Do we really need to upload our evaluation sheets, especially in these pathways now?
Now, if you ask Toastmasters International this question, you will get an answer similar to it is more or less saying it is your wish. Now, let me go back from the time that I started Icebreakers in Pathways. I have uploaded every single evaluation. Now, that is personally for my reference. I can look back and see what each evaluator has said. Because if I don't upload my evaluations, no one else is going to do it. So that's for my personal reference. And when I want to look back and see for any particular project, how I have done this, if you've not uploaded it then and there, or maybe within the week at least, you're going to lose it. Now, most of the evaluations which I have done, I've actually sent the evaluation to the speaker almost immediately. There are 2 pending at the moment. We had 2 speakers last week in our club, but I make it a point to send them the evaluation because the evaluation is worth it for them and up to each of us to upload it. My personal advice is upload everything because there is a stage when you want to look back. Rasni?
Thank you, Radhika and Shriyanti. I agree. I did that too, but it's again, we are all adults in this movement, and I'm sure it's up to us. But there is an option, so why not use it? Toastmaster Tissa, there was a question in the chat box that asked us what is a win-win negotiation. I'm sure I was wondering what that was, so I'm sure the person who asked us is also waiting to hear. Is there something called a win-win negotiation?
Let me answer that with a story. Imagine there's an orange, the beautiful, juicy, colorful, tasty orange. Now these 2 brothers entered the house and both were married. And when they opened the refrigerator, they saw an orange. The one brother jumped into that and got it and said, I need this orange. The other brother said, hey, wait. I also need that orange. No, but we have only 1 orange. Yeah, it's only 1 orange. I need it because I have an important, I have important use of it. No way, my dear friends. The things inside this refrigerator belongs to me. I also need that. I also need it for an important purpose. These 2 brothers are fighting for what? An orange. 1 orange. Oh, an orange. There's only one fruit was available there. Now, how does these 2 brothers negotiate? How do they negotiate? What is the options that they have with this orange? Let me take you to different scenarios. One of the best situation is a general common sense. The people often say that, okay, let's be fair to both brothers. They both need, and this is what happens. They negotiate for the orange as their life depend on it. They are even willing to kill someone to get that orange. And how do you resolve that? This is one of the exercises of my negotiation workshops. I give the participants orange each, 1 to 1, and 2 paper plates, paper serviettes, and 1 knife, small knife. I have 20 knives, so I can play with 40 people. I take all 20 oranges and give them to negotiate, give them different instruction. You know what happened often? At the end of 2 minutes, the timeline, they cut it half. You get 1 part, I get another part, exactly in the middle, and they call it win-win. He wins, I win. I ask them, seriously? Win-win? Wait a minute. Have you ever asked why the other person wants the orange? Why he is fighting like mad to get that orange, like his life depends on it? The next set of instructions says a different thing. One brother wants the orange. When the person asks, cooperate, you know what happens often? They fight to have the orange. It's like who gets the bigger part. Finally, they agree to cut it half. 50-50, they call it win-win. But there's another way. Wait a minute. If you ask the other one brother, Ayya, what do you want? Why are you fighting like mad to get this orange? Oh, I don't want orange. I need the peel of it because my wife wants to make a cake with orange peels. You know, they make cake with lemon peels and orange peels. I can't remember the word that day, but they use that for that purpose. Seriously? I don't want that peel. I need the middle part for my wife to make orange juice for me. So one brother wants the peel, the other brother wants orange juice, the middle part. Now when they cut it half, how satisfied one is? Half. One who wants the peel got half of the peel. One who wants to get the middle part is only got half of the peel. They are 50-50 satisfied. Imagine if you collaborate with the other person in negotiation, ask the question why, and find out the reason or interest why they are fighting for, negotiating for. One brother gets the entire peel. The other one gets the middle part. The both were happy 100%. What? Originally, the value of the orange was 100 and each got 50% satisfaction. If you negotiate properly, collaboratively, each get 100% and 100%. My friends, in negotiation, it is possible to expand the cake, enlarge the cake, and it is also possible to make it more than 100%, in this case 200%. Friends, in District 82, that is what you call win-win. Back to you.
So what I got out of it is that you need all the information to ensure that to have a proper win-win situation, you need the information so that we can not make half happiness, it will be half win. Right. So another thing that I realized is communication is key to everything, even when it comes to a good negotiator. Toastmaster Iromi, just one question for you. Now you were telling us and sharing with us how important it is that we have to have a positive mind. That will really help us, no matter what is going around, happening around us. But there are some instances that you really just cannot see the light at the end of the tunnel. You just cannot find that silver lining, or you just cannot find that rainbow. Just if you can share with us something that you do, like you were talking about how when you were going through this bad situation, about what did you do that helped you see the positive? Just give me, before we go on to that, Toastmasters, we do have a feedback link that we will share on the chat with you. So before we wind up and before Toastmaster Iromi gives us these very important tips of how we can get over this, we have shared the feedback link in the chat. So please do take some time and fill it out to help us give you better productive sessions. Toastmaster Iromi, how do we really find that silver lining no matter what is going on?
Yeah. So what you should be doing is, in an instance like that, I mean, we come across instances like that in life. Don't beat yourself up. That's the most important thing. Don't beat yourself up with the negativity, because at that time, think that, don't single yourself out. At that time, don't think that this is happening to me only, because if you let that thought creep into your mind, then the ant has crept into your mind. Okay? Then that negativity has crept into your mind. So don't beat yourself up. Don't feel sorry for yourself. Just at that time, remind yourself that this is a universal experience. This happens to almost everybody. We come across such instances and try to slowly move on. So what I did was, I knew that was happening. I knew it happened to me. I knew it was how sad it was, but my thoughts were, no, it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right, right? Just like when we are sometimes not too well and we get worried, we keep on telling ourselves, no, it's going to be all right, because that's what matters. Even if you're battling with some kind of an illness, the main thing is what the doctors tell us also: stay positive, stay focused, and stay happy, and be positive. Tell yourself you're going to be all right. I have seen patients becoming better and being cured when they have been positive. So what I say is, take a break at that time, because you can't, we are not gods, we are human beings, right? So take a break, give yourself a break, and don't let that negativity hurt you, and always know that justice will prevail. Justice, even though late, justice prevails.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Romi. And I see that we have not got any questions. And regardless of what anyone says, I believe that everything was in fact so clear and so clear-cut that everyone had a very productive session, I should say. Now, for us to move on with the day's proceedings, I would like to invite our Program Quality Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Shriyanti Salgado, to address the audience.
Thank you, Lasmi. I believe I'm audible, though I think my internet connection is not very strong. Friends, we've just come to the end of another program from the Program Quality team. Now, these programs started initially due to a joint effort of our group. And each month, we try to see that our members get something special. Now, we would also like you to tell us what else you need to hear from us. What specific details would you like us to give you? What specific programs would you like us to hear? Because we still have another 4 months to run, and we have every intention of running a program for the next 4 months as well. Because I've found quite often that these little programs of 20 minutes, half an hour, and the presenters coming and giving you their expert knowledge has helped many a Toastmaster to change their ideas, to be positive, to have negotiation skills, the storytelling act. All that is helping each other. You could also take this back to your clubs and tell them, because it's only by sharing our knowledge that we become better and better. So keep joining us, keep telling your friends to help other friends to come together with our team. Every first Friday, we will be there with something new. See you in April with something special again. Lasmi.
Thank you, Madam Program Quality Director. Again, this is our link for the feedback form if you still have not given us your feedback. And also we have a small surprise announcement. So I would like to invite DTM Hingston. He requested to be seen and to speak. Over to you.
Thank you, Lasni. And at this time, I would like to appreciate one person for all the work that she's been doing behind the scene. That is our moderator, Toastmaster Lasni. Because when she took up these responsibilities, I felt so relaxed that she was able to manage things in her own. So thank you so much, Lasni, for all the work. I know you will be thanking everyone in the end, but you will not be thanking yourself. So I just wanted to just pop in, and I just wanted to say thanks to you, and a small request to all our members who are listening, who are in this webinar. This webinar is for you, is not for the district officers, or it's not for anyone else. It is for you. So get the maximum use of it. We will have these videos uploaded in about a couple of weeks' time in the District 82 YouTube channel. So please go and share those videos. As Lasni said, we have those the previous sessions in that District 82 YouTube channel. I'm not doing a marketing for the D82 YouTube channel, but still I would like to request you to go and check those educational sessions which is really valuable for every one of us. As Riyanti said, in this feedback form, we have a column to where we have requested you to share us what are you expecting from our team in the future meetings, so that we will cater those needs. It is for you, it is for your own development. Thank you, Lasni, and over to you.
Thank you, DTM Houston. And that brings us to the end of today's program. And what is next? We'll see you on the 2nd of April, luckily not the 1st. It's on the 2nd of April, the first Friday of April at 7 p.m. on Zoom. And with that, I would like to thank, of course, our District Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Nurul Munara, our Program Quality Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Shriyanti Salgado, our Club Growth Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Nisal Virakon, our presenters today, our trainers today, who took time to share all their very important nuggets from what they have learned. And like Toastmaster Tissa said, his 2-day, 3-day program into 30 minutes to help us become better. So Toastmaster Tissa, thank you very much. Toastmaster Iromi, thank you very much for helping us to become a little bit more positive, I hope. And I would also like to thank someone who has been very silently backing us all up today. That is, of course, Toastmaster Myri from Virtusa Toastmasters Club, our Zoom master for today. And how can we not mention a big thank you to our PR manager of District 82, Distinguished Toastmaster Mafaz. And most of all of you who stayed with us throughout this 1.5 hours. And I hope that you did gain a lot today, and see you next month as well. And this is me signing off.